before we roll into the agenda, I guess we should have a call to order.
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, a roll call. Chair G. Wade Wooten,
Here.
Mr. Charles Brown, Mr. Hunter Thomas.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Okay, great. Let's see. So rolling. Give me 1 second. I'm just looking at the agenda. Damon, just a quick comment. Oh, never mind. So it looks like we have no old business. And then I guess there's always an opportunity for public comments. So I guess if anybody from the public is participating.
No public comments at this time.
Okay, great. So then rolling to item 5, which is new business and review and approval of the meeting minutes, committee meeting minutes from May 19th, 2020, a copy of which is attached to the agenda. It looks like there's no action items from the meeting from this date, so it makes it much more straightforward.
No.
Hunter, that said, I guess I'm always hesitant to issue a motion as chair, committee chair. Would you mind making the motion and I'll second it?
Which motion is that?
Motion to approve the Finance and Investment Committee meetings from May 19th, 2020.
Oh yeah, motion to approve.
Okay, and I second that. All those in favor? Aye. All those against?
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously. So then the second item for new business is the fiscal 2019 financial audit. So Byron, I don't know if Byron or who's going to provide background on that? Or Damon?
Byron is going to cover it.
Yeah, I'll provide a background on that. And good afternoon, committee members. So we have engaged with Oswald and Neverville. They've started their audit engagement last month. This is their second year performing the audit for Finance New Orleans. And they did start the engagement a few weeks delayed as a result of COVID and just in terms of not being able to do the normal work in the field. And then my team having to scan in various documents because of that. But they've started their engagement. They've started working with the assistance of Bruno and Turboline and just collecting and reviewing all the information that we've provided to them. We provided all the priority information timely. We're planning to have an update meeting tomorrow to confirm the complete timeline, which normally the end of June. They have mentioned that it's possible that they may recommend that we extend it 30 days to July and utilize this emergency extension that the state legislator has allowed, given the COVID and various effects on just processes in general. So we'll meet tomorrow to kind of confirm that. I'll have more insight on those potential delays or outstanding items that they may have, and I can provide the board and committee with an update on that confirmed filing date thereafter.
Byron, just a quick question, I guess, which is, I mean, I don't know if the committee or the board needs to vote to extend the deadline, just as long as it's consistent with whatever the applicable requirements are. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Damon, you got any, or Bianca?
No, the board doesn't need to do anything to extend it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And just, I guess,
that's all I have in terms of the update.
And just one other, I guess, question, which is, so with the COVID challenges, for lack of a better word, You're all able to, I guess, access all the documents you need and interact with the auditors as appropriate.
Say that again, Wade. You're a little, you were choppy on my end.
Yeah, I apologize. So I guess with COVID and social distancing, that whole mess, you're able to access all the documents you need and communicate with the auditors as appropriate?
Yeah, yes. So my team, we have been going into the office and scanning in our necessary documents. And so they're performing the audit remotely. And so that's been one of the challenges is essentially getting the documents to them. And then with them working with Bruno and Turpline, they have to communicate, remotely as well and communicate with various stakeholders in the audit process. But on our end, I've been able to provide what we needed, get it scanned and send them.
Okay. Out of curiosity, everybody, is it just me or is there like a connectivity issue?
Yeah, I'm having difficulty hearing Byron
Yeah, me too.
as well. I can hear you clearly, Wade, but Byron, I'm having a hard time hearing
Okay.
you.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was me.
Okay, let's see it.
Okay, well, thank you, Byron, for that update. So it looks like the next agenda item is the financial management report, starting with the market report.
Okay. Can y'all hear me clearly? Or you still have difficulties?
That's better.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like everything's seems strong on my end. I'm not sure what's going on, but so what I'll do is provide an update on the just a market update, and then cover the financial status report year to date of as of April. So in terms of the market, there's still a lot of uncertainty, both in the local and overall economy and market. We're seeing increased cases of COVID spreading back up. A lot of unemployment variables. There's the unemployment benefits that are set to expire. They could be extended, but it's looking like they may expire, but that may have some effect on the economy. There's a state and municipalities trying to open back up, and some reinforcing restrictions, given the increased cases. And then you have the unrest and the protests, which all is a few of many elements that's impacting the market behavior and uncertainty. On a local, from a local standpoint, there's recent data on unemployment as of April that shows that New Orleans lost roughly 100,000 jobs in April, and reached an unemployment rate, of 18.8, which is higher than the national average right now, 13.3, and up considerably from last year, of course, which was 3.5 last year. So major impact. The Federal Reserve met last week, and the markets are having their eyes on the Federal Reserve, to see what type of tools they'll have or comments in terms of forecasting. And they performed their first formal projection since December, given the COVID and everything. And not surprisingly, they cast a wide net, saying that the market, the economy can go anywhere from a continued recession to the biggest boom since the 80s. So very wide net that they're casting, which kind of confirms the uncertainty in the market. In terms of the muni market has had some strong demand recently. The measures we look at is that a muni versus treasury ratio, which measures the relative value of the munis, muni yields versus the treasury yields, and that has come down from some extreme highs since mid-February, and kind of a disconnection from treasuries. So it's starting to come back down to normalized levels, but it's still showing that there's relative value as it relates to treasuries. But that's driven by that strong demand. We're also seeing new bond issue volume increase in the muni space. Kind of the past couple of weeks, we've seen increases there. Mortgage rates remain historically low, and they actually hit all-time low last week. The Fed said that they're committed to maintaining a level of MBS purchases and not just for emergency purposes that like they've done in the past, where they just pick up the emergency purchases and kind of tail off their spending. But they're committed to keeping those rates low and continuing those purchases. So all in all, just still a lot of uncertainty, and we're going to continue to mark markets and advise informed, but keep our foot on the pedal in terms of our programs and everything internally. Questions or comments there?
I just had one, that 18% unemployment rate, was that for Orleans Parish or like the greater metropolitan?
That was the greater New Orleans Parish.
Okay. That's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just to,
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, go ahead.
Byron, one comment to add. So in terms of the market, everything Byron mentioned is, is right on. And the Fed chairperson just last week mentioned that he expects rates to remain low for the next 2 years, or in the zeros for the next 2 years. So, or until 2022 were his exact words. So that just means more of the same for us in terms of in terms of the low interest rates that the market has been seeing for the last 10 to 15 years. And of course, as you know, Finance Authority of New Orleans has always been in the business of providing below market financing. Well, when everything is below market, there's very little need for our type of finance. So we try to compete, or we're developing products and programs that are valuable beyond just the interest rate. They add some other element, some other benefit to the homeowner or to the developer or whoever the end user is going to be. Our products are meant to be more than just marketplace. So, that's a transition for us. We have to build new infrastructure and on the program side, and then we're also developing new financial models. That's something that's been a part of our strategic plan for the last few years. So, Byron is developing those models as we speak and working with our financial advisors to create a reliable set of projections and an understanding of where we are at all times in different markets. So all that to say, below market financing has been our competitive advantage, and it will continue to be our competitive advantage once markets normalize. But in the meantime, we have to develop competitive programs that are valuable in a variety of ways. And that's where our focus has been.
Okay. And then I guess the next agenda item is the financial status report.
Okay. So page 1 provides a comprehensive snapshot of the actual year-to-date versus budget year-to-date revenues and expenses. You'll see as of April, actual revenues came in at 48,000, a budget 68,000. Actual favorable to budget, coming in at 430,000, which is about 201,000 less than the budgeted 631. Turn to page 2. This provides a snapshot or look into the revenue components year to date. As mentioned, there's a downward variance to budget, but it's mainly driven by the multifamily program income, which we haven't seen just yet, but we're working diligently to get the program launched, and we'll be having revenue flowing through that line soon. Page 3 takes a look into the expenses year to date, mainly favorable across the board, driven by salaries and benefits due to open positions, marketing and advertising, as we haven't fully deployed the expenses for that just yet, just remaining prudently as we incorporate the new name change and new programs that's coming on board. Page 4 takes a look at the Pathways portfolio. You see total revenues year to date is 30,000 to expenses year to date 18,000. Page 5 provides an historical look back on the operating fund in terms of revenues and expenses by month. Everything's pretty consistent, and then the averages. Page 6 shows a year-over-year balance sheet comparison of the operating fund. The composition remains pretty stable given our minimal activity there. And then finally, on page 7, this shows our cash balances at the end of April, which shows our total cash allocations have been stable month over month. This month, or as of April, it's 11.4. The prior month is 11.5. So that concludes my presentation of the financial status report. Are there any questions or comments?
None for me.
None from me either.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right.
I think that's the last agenda item, unless I'm missing something.
That's it.
Okay, great.
That's it.
Okay, so I guess that said, unless Hunter has anything else to add, meeting's adjourned.
It might have been record time, fellas.
We'll try to keep it that way.
Man, look, this is lovely.
One last thing before you do go. We did have a programs committee meeting before this, and we started introducing projects. So as we mentioned to you last month, our CEA with the city was approved by city council. We started reviewing projects in our underwriting committee. So we received 4 applications for our first underwriting committee, and we're continuing to receive applications. So the first few applications that you're going to be asked to approve as a board are pilot applications. Some of these are going to be bond deals, but the bonds are going to be issued through LHC until we can fully establish our bond lending platform. But that's happening at the same time as this pilot platform. So we just aren't quite ready yet to do both, but we are ready to start underwriting pilots. So we've started that process. You'll hear about one project in particular during the full board meeting, but we'll begin to seek approvals from the board, preliminary approvals beginning in July.
And this is under one or both of the CEAs? Because I think we signed 2, right?
Correct. So it's, technically it's related to the first CEA, which is the one just between New Orleans and City of New Orleans and Finance New Orleans. But the second CEA between the state does make reference to our ability to generate pilots, and that being part of the reason why they've elected to work with us in this manner. So the fact that the city has empowered us has encouraged the state to empower us as well. So those 2 CEAs together will allow us to issue pilots, bonds, and then other products that we come up with. But this, the pilot that we'll talk about at the board, and the next few that you'll be asked to review over the coming 3 to 4 months, this represents long-term revenue for Finance New Orleans. So I believe the first application is seeking a 40-year pilot. So that means the property will come off the tax rolls for 40 years and be the responsibility of Finance New Orleans. And because of that responsibility, we have to tax that property or charge fees to it And those fees come back to us as free cash flow for us to use for operations and programs and more investments. So this is a great start for us. And as the finance committee, you'll start to see how these projects are hitting the balance sheet and the income statement.
Great. Some exciting stuff.
Yes, sir. So thank you for your attention as the board, and thank you for empowering us to do what we need to do to really turn the organization into the direction that we've been talking about for the last few years. So
Man, that's all y'all. Y'all got a great team.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You too. So we should hang up and then call back in at 4 for the board meeting?
Yes, we'll restart the link at 4.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys.
Bye.
All right.